6. Hello there. How's it going, fam? Look what I just found. That's right, fam. Just found this. Should we try it out? Oh, wow. Less than 5 ingredients with a scan me for a free airdrop. Here's the magic part, fam. Got it right here. Give it a go. Whew. That was amazing. Refreshing. All the salts you need in your electrolyte premix. Definitely check out Crypto Rush now. It even has a bonus creatine. That's right. Got to build those strong muscles. Help with all that muscle recovery. Crypto Rush gives you the rush that you need to propel yourself throughout the day. Crypto Fam Radio, and your host Mountain Dew. Let's go. Get some Crypto Rush now. Thank you so much for joining me, Will. How are you today? Happy Monday.
I'm good, dude. Happy Monday to you, too.
Awesome, bro. I love it.
You're looking good.
Thank you. I did shave yesterday.
Okay.
So I was on TikTok live with Jen from One Love Art Dow. So, I had to represent. Sure. I had to kind of, shave that big old beard from Eat Denver. But I'm glad I'm here with you, Will. And,
yes,
since we finally met for the first time at Eat Denver, that was an experience, right? I think we should start there. How did you feel like Eat Denver went for you and your business? And were you able to do what you were set out to want to do at the conference?
Yeah, that's the thing about when you go to these events, you go to these experiences, you go to these, industry level meetups. I would say it was kind of like a meetup on steroids this year, right?
Really? Have you been to Eat Denver before, or was this your first time?
This is my fifth. That's my fifth. Eat
Oh, wow. Because a lot of people said it wasn't as big as it usually is. So what did you think?
Well, that's true to a certain extent, but it all depends on your perspective, right? So, my first Eat Denver, I had no idea what to expect, right? Then as I attended more and more, and I'm like, okay, we're going to go into this with the game plan. So as far as with KF Media and what we do with KF Media, we went into with the game plan. Game plan was doing business development and finding fundraising opportunities, right? From that perspective, all the boxes checked, because now we've got a pitch deck that's been, or I would say sponsorship deck that's being circulated now through the circles of financiers, to where that can bring in some serious capital for what we do at KF Media, right? Yes, lower attended than in years past, but if you look, still the 8th most attended ETH-based event in history since ETH-based events were a thing, right? Sure. So you've got that behind you too. And I feel with it being a little bit more intimate of an experience, the value of the conversations leveled up, because people weren't always in a rush, like, oh, I got to get to the next person in my booth. I got to get to the next person in my booth. I got to get to the next person in my booth. They're really able to take the time out and have these very valuable, robust conversations that really can add a lot of meaning to the overall relationship that's developed. You've probably been to these similar events before. The first interaction is, hey, do we like each other? Then, right? Then it's all in the follow-ups, and it's like the meetings afterwards, and let's get some work done. Let's have some serious conversations. So
I love that. And that's kind of why we're here today, Will. You're like, hey, what about the podcast? I just launched 111 Podcast, and I was like, you know what? I do need more guests. And so why not interview Will, get to know about KFM a little bit more, about what you guys do, and how did it all get started? Because, we love talking about the projects, but it's more about the people behind the projects, right? So maybe introduce yourself a little bit, like what's your background before you got into crypto? And then how did you get to where you are now with KFM Talks?
Yeah, no worries. Where do we start? Okay, so life before blockchain. Let's put it that way.
I love that.
26-year business veteran.
Okay.
Right. All different aspects of business, 7 different industries, from retail mom and pops to Fortune. Actually, one of the companies that I worked for was a Fortune 6 company. Right. Everybody says Fortune 500. No, they were Fortune 6. They were number 6 on the list. Anyways, so left that life behind. Took a leap of faith based on the advice of my mentor. Started an LLC, became an entrepreneur, took on his company as my sole client, and boom, away we go.
Wow.
Right. So this was in 2020, March of 2020, when all this happened. My first task from him was to research the markets inside the blockchain ecosystem to draw a corollary between the cryptocurrency markets and the traditional equity stock markets. So that's how I got started. Now, where we've been since, I mean, it's been a long journey. I'll say, to keep it short and, condensed in time. In 2022, I did my conference tour. I went to 8 conferences in the span of a year. Wow. Some of those were speaking on stages, some were moderating panels on stages. A lot of it was having conversations in spaces, X spaces, with traditional educators, online educators, ed tech educators, homeschoolers, right? Because I really wanted to figure out how blockchain could solve the systemic challenges with the traditional education system. So it's through that course of the hundreds and hundreds of hours of interviews that I kind of got a little inspired. And in the fall of 2022, I became an education maxi. I said, look, we can do better. We can do better with blockchain technology. We can do better for the people, right? We can do better to level up humanity and society from a social impact perspective. So that led us to launching KF Media, original company name, Kingfisher's Media LLC. Formerly, the KF Media came to us through a community brand voice exercise. It works better conversationally. It's more truncated, right? It's short, sweet, boom, boom, to the point.
Yep.
And yes, we launched in the spring of 2023. Here we are, almost 3 years later, and we're on an amazing journey and trajectory of social impact and flipping the paradigm on the traditional education system to where learners that tap in with us are encouraged that they no longer have to create debt or make a financial decision about their education.
Absolutely love that. And well put, by the way, well put. I want to go back to something you said earlier about events that you were making your tour. And so were these all crypto events or what kind of events? Just entrepreneurial events? Could you break that down for me?
They're all blockchain. If I interrupted you. No, they're all blockchain related events.
Oh, all blockchain. Okay. And you spoke in your panel and your moderator as well doing all of that? Or like, how did you get involved?
During various events, yeah, it just depends. Like the first event I attended was in the Phoenix greater area right after East Denver. So actually, the backup, rewind. The first event was East Denver 2022. Okay, that was my first East Denver. Wow. I had no idea what to expect. It was spread out across 6 city blocks in Denver in the art district. I'm like, okay, let's kind of figure out what the schedule's like and form a game plan around that. But then, of course, when you get boots on the ground, you don't necessarily stick to that schedule, right? So from there, give me a second. I need some water.
No, you're totally fine. Yeah. Okay. Drink the water. It helps.
Oh, yeah. Well, being down here in Mexico, you got to have bottled water.
Yes, I could say that in Florida, it was actually almost, it's almost 70 already in sunny Florida. And it's just a little after 9 o'clock here, Central Time Zone. So yeah, sure. I totally get you. But anyway, back to your events whenever you're ready.
Okay, so back to events. So Eat Denver 2022, first event. Didn't know what to expect. Tried to form a game plan. Didn't stick to it. Just went and had fun. Then after that, flew out to Arizona, to the Phoenix greater area. Attended an event there. That was a conference, like a 3-day conference, right? And my first assignment there was to be the moderator for the crowd Q&A and the online Q&A and throw them up to the stage, right?
Cool.
I was like,
that's
fun. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. And then from there, went to Atlanta. Spoke at a conference in Atlanta. Then after that, went to Austin in June for another conference which I spoke on 2 panels. I spoke on one panel about Web3 social impact, and the other panel I spoke on was mental wellness inside of Web3. How do we maintain our sanity, basically, right? And this is in 2022. we're talking about these things, right?
Wow.
So anyways,
3 years ago, almost 4 years now. Yeah,
almost 4 years ago. Almost 4 years ago now.
That's crazy.
So then, on the heels of that, a friend of mine who I'd met in Atlanta, colleague, he was working for CoinDesk, so he got me a pass for Consensus. So I said, hey, let me stick around a few other days in Austin. Let's go to Consensus, see that. Well, at the time, the company I was consulting for, which was a Web 2 company in the payment solution space, the reason why I was able to go to so many conferences that year, because I was doing BD for them, business development. So doing the business development for them, finding them partners inside of Web3 so that they could eventually transition into Web3 with the solution they were creating. And I was helping co-create. Anyways, so then from Atlanta, from Austin, in June, was supposed to go to Nashville in September. But that conference ended up not popping off. So then went to Miami in right before Art Basel. And I was actually supposed to go to Art Basel, but then some personal family matter circumstance happened where I had to fly back. But that was the conference where I spoke on 2 panels and then moderated another one against anything else. What? Crypto regulations. What?
Oh, no.
Yes, we were talking about crypto regulations and what that framework could look like, right?
Makes sense.
And then to top it off, come back from Miami and then attend East Denver 2023. So
wow,
that was my conference. So I spoke on, I did the circuit. I spoke on 4 panels. I moderated another panel that helped me. And then also too, I didn't mention this, while we were at the conference in Austin, I was also the Spaces production manager. So we had a live Spaces that we were doing as a community, which was a marathon space.
Cool.
And we wanted to give people the context from the conference because it wasn't being streamed out, right? But we wanted to give them that experience, like what were the conversations, what was being talked about. So I was actually the Spaces production manager to make sure the space stayed live, to make sure the audio was dialed in, everybody could hear okay. Everything like that. So
that's amazing.
It was a fun year. I
bet. So tell me a little more about how did you get involved to be a speaker and moderator? For the rest of the audience too that listens, how can they get involved if they want to become, let's say, a speaker or moderator at these events, at these conferences? What's the best way to go about that?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you see a conference that you want to attend, and most of them have speakers, right? Because that's the beauty of the event. That's like the cornerstone, right? Or these conversations, these thought-provoking conversations. Right. So if you have an opinion and you want to be heard, just apply to speak.
So there's always an application within the website that you can always go to?
In most cases, there are. Yeah, in most cases, like right now, I've been seeing in some of my Telegram groups that they're looking for speakers for ECC, which is in May, I believe, in Paris. Oh, so if anybody wants that information, I can get them for them because
sure, sign me up.
Yeah.
Actually applied to be speaker for the Futurist blockchain in Toronto. I think it's end of July. Is their conference, the Futurist? Did you go to Futurist Miami last November? Were you there? No, you missed that one. Yeah, so that was the first conference that I had been to, Will, and I was just blown away by the panels, the speakers, everything. It inspired me. I was like, hey, I could do this. That's not that hard. I do this in Spaces every day. I'm like, what's the difference?
Exactly.
Right?
Well,
stagecraft, but
well, maybe we should rewind and say practice on Spaces to get your get your persona out there, get your voice out there, get the nerves out of your system, right? But then most conferences, most events, they have speaker panels. So you just look at the event you want to attend, you look at the speaker registration. You may get selected, you may not. It depends on how big the event is. Right.
Oh, that makes sense.
It depends on your application. So you gotta your application is going to be like your resume. Right. So you want to make sure you're standing out from everyone else that's applying, because like East Denver, they get, over 1,000 speaker requests every single year.
I bet.
Right. But only how many get picked? Maybe a couple hundred, if that. Maybe 100, maybe 10%. So you got to really make yourself shine and stand out. So
that makes sense. I did apply for East Denver as well as a speaker on a panel. I didn't get it. I didn't get it, but they said,
They don't know
sorry,
you.
maybe next time. See,
They
that's
don't
the
know
thing.
you.
Not yet. But they did for sure this year.
Consistency's key, right? Consistency's
Well,
key, though,
that
right?
and just
Keep
getting
applying,
out
keep
there.
applying, keep applying, keep applying, keep applying, and get your name out there.
Yeah. So I
Get
did
that
that with
exposure.
Right. I did that with the Futurists as well. And so that's why, you know, since I've been to the conference, I was like, all right, I think I can apply to be a speaker for Futurists. I'm going to go for it. And then I saw the applications opened up. I think a few weeks ago, they started with the Futurists. So I did apply. I haven't heard back yet. I haven't heard yes or no. So I guess they're still going through their applications. But I was like, oh, I'm going to be a speaker. I'm going to be a moderator. You know, I'll do anything you guys want. Just put me up on stage. I want people to see me, you know? So I was like, I don't know. We'll see. I'll keep trying though. I'll keep trying. The next events we're going to be at is Vegas. I was going to ask you, have you been to any Vegas events, crypto Vegas events? What were your experiences?
I have
those?
not.
Okay.
So in 2022, I was supposed to go to a Vegas event.
Okay.
I'm trying to think what time of year it was. I think it was like October, November, whatever. Okay. Anyways, it didn't work out for me. There was circumstance where it didn't work out for me to go.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
But the only thing I can say perspective on Vegas is before I got into blockchain, I did attend an industry event for the company I was working with at the time, which was like a software developer conference, whatever, in Vegas. So Vegas is always a great time.
I know
more and more it's changing, right? They're trying to make like every resort is an actual resort. And when you come to Vegas, you're going to stay at the resort. We're going to do everything we can to keep you at the resort.
Oh, is that how they're doing it?
How they're doing it.
How they get the most money from you. We just want you to stay in one place. Oh, I see.
We don't want you going down the street to the,
to other resort. Right. We're just
exactly. We want you staying here.
They're competing like we have a better show. We'll give you free tickets to attend our show, you know, with the yeah. I haven't been to Vegas since 2017, I think 2016, 2017. Okay. I went down with a buddy of mine. This was before I got into crypto. So it was a college buddy of mine. We were celebrating our birthdays. We were actually born on the same day of the same month of the same year. Will, imagine that. We were like literally twins. However, he was born in Russia and I was actually born in Alabama, opposite sides of the globe, but we were technically still born on the same day. I don't know. We're both Pisces. You know, we have a lot in common. We're both, very go-getters kind of deal. But he's still up in Alaska. I actually reconnected with him recently. But to say all that, our adventures in Vegas was lit because I had never been before. This was my first experience. And he was like just letting loose. He had a bunch of money. He was like, bro, you get me there. I'll pay for all the shows, you know. We'll stay at the pyramid, you know, and like we'll have a lot of fun, right? So we did that. We saw all the amazing shows, Circus Olay, Michael Jackson, David Copperfield, you know, all the cool stuff, Blue Man Group. Right. And then on top of that, you know, I got, and this was before crypto, so I was a big professional photographer, and I was doing this personal photo project of taking a spacesuit, an actual replica model Apollo 11 spacesuit, and trying to put in different parts of the world and photograph it, basically, right? So it's almost like this Where's Waldo thing, but like with a spacesuit instead, but in a just completely random landscape. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool because Vegas has like the Fire State Park, whatever. They have so many beautiful national parks there with the big red rocks and everything. So I was like, we got to put the spacesuit here. We got to connect with these influencers. And this was like all pre-crypto Mountain Dew. You know, this was still like Don Barrington photography. So I was still on fire about art, right? Obviously, I've always been loving NFTs and art, but it was like from that interaction alone, I could see the potential of content creation, right? And that was basically the next question, what I want to come to. Influencers, content creators, live streamers, however you want to talk about it. Talk to me about your experience because, you know, you've had that experience as a speaker, as a communicator. You have, you know, this confidence that a lot of people don't have when they get up on stage, right? And so maybe walk me through, you know, how to be a better speaker and communicator so you can be a better influencer in the world, because at the end of the day, you know, we're all influencers. We're all influencing people every single day when we jump online, when we post content. And so talk to me a little more about your experience, I guess, in content creation and live streaming, and also as a public speaker, and what advice would you give, let's say, the next wave of content creators?
Oh, that's awesome. That's a great prompt. So one, do your research, right? We say it on the outside. Anything you're interested in, do your research. Okay.
What does that mean?
That's
to break it down? Break down GYOR.
Okay, I'm gonna break it down. I'm gonna break it down. Find people, right? And they don't necessarily have to be in your network now, but find people you want in your network who have already broken through, who have already paved a pathway that can mentor you, right? Mentor you and coach you along. Case in point, 2022, I was coming out of my own community, coming out of that little bubble, whatever, as an exploratory journey to see what else was out there in the blockchain. So I said, there's got to be more than just my community, right? So I went on this journey and I started connecting and joining these spaces and then getting up on stage and getting to know the people that were running the space. And a lot of them were publicists, right? A lot of them were brand asset managers. So a lot of them were also like real world company business professionals in the content creation. So as far as content creation, really learn the industry and what it takes to make yourself have the tools and the assets in your corner to be able to do that, right? Like understand what a media kit is, understand what the value of a media kit is, understand if you're creating a brand, what does that brand look like? Are you going to have to trademark it? What are the trademarking requirements in your jurisdiction? You're going to have to create a logo design around it because logos stand out, logos pop, especially now in this environment that we're in the virtual conversations we have on the social media platforms. Your logo can be your PFP, right? And then the more you travel around those circles, right, that logo now becomes recognizable. And then that creates curiosity, right? I would say from the public speaking standpoint, that is one of the greatest fears, right? It's public speaking, at least in America. I don't know if that's globally or not.
I feel like it is.
I feel like it is. I feel like, but if you're nervous about it, if you have this apprehension with public speaking, okay, cool. You know what you do? You take your phone. Most everyone's got one of these, right?
Right.
Most everyone's got one of these devices right here. We live by them. They're attached to our hip. They're surgically implanted on our arms sometimes. Take this, turn on your camera, turn on record, and just start talking. Start speaking from the heart. Start speaking what you're passionate about, right? You can put in the mirror so you can kind of see your facial expressions as you're talking through it, but just take your phone, put it on record, and just start talking like you're dictating a novel, like you're dictating your life story, right? And just start speaking to your passion, speak from the heart, and that will build up your confidence. And then when you get involved, I mean, you don't have to come on social media, right, to have these conversations, right? But maybe you attend, say, like a community event, right? So make it familiar, make it like you're talking to your neighbors, right? If you do touch your neighbors, I don't know. That's kind of a lost thing in society now that we don't have. I
know, right?
Community, right? But if you talk to your neighbors, make it, when you're doing these and having these conversations, make it natural and make it like you're having a conversation with your neighbor, right? You don't have to be the loudest person in the room. You don't have to be the attention grabber or the attention seeker or whatever. You just have to speak from her. And that's actually one of the best advice that I got. Because the first time I came off stage that evening with a mentor of mine at the time who did a lot of public speaking back in the early 90s. And he was talking about the age of the internet and how it's going to be adopted and it was the next big thing. And everybody was saying he's crazy. Kind of sounds familiar, right? With blockchain. Oh, you guys are a bunch of crazies. I said, so how'd I do? He's like, you know what? I'm going to tell you one thing and I want you to remember this for the rest of your life. Always speak from your heart. And if people don't like it, that's not your problem.
There you go. Absolutely love that. Where's the applause? Like, seriously, that's huge. I love that advice. Well, seriously, I need the applause sound effects here. I feel like I'm in spaces with you. No, this is great. I absolutely love that. I think everyone needs to hear that, seriously. And I hope so many more people resonate with that message. Just putting your phone on record and like mirroring yourself and talking to yourself I think that is huge, because that is what I had to do on TikTok Live, because you're forced to kind of look at yourself. Like, you're literally having to force you look at yourself and then also look at the chats, but you're always looking at yourself and you're always like critiquing yourself. You're like, oh, I should be doing more of this. I should be not saying this word so much. You know, you're almost editing yourself in real time. And that's what you're doing when you're just practicing over and over and over again your communication skill. And this is a skill a lot of people don't realize. Communication is a skill, and you can become better at it, right? You can become better at it when you practice, right? Practice equals permanence. And as you practice, you start to realize that what you're doing is communicating with others. But first, you need to communicate with yourself, right? You need to have that self-talk. And I think this is huge. A lot of people say it's crazy to talk to yourself, but I don't think so.
No,
I think it's required.
Yeah, especially in this day and age.
Right? Right?
Especially with all the social conditioning we've been through our lives, right?
Right.
It's like a mental health respite to be able to talk to yourself and work through things mentally out loud, so you hear yourself like, oh man, yeah. Rewind it a little bit. So you're saying about editing in real time, right? As the saying goes, we're our own worst critics.
Right.
Right. So we are going to be critiquing ourselves. We are going to be looking for improvements. Another bit of advice when I first started, I call it live broadcasting, but space hosting, same thing, is I actually interviewed a professional podcaster at the time who had like 11 years experience under her belt.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and that was like,
was that intimidating?
No, not really. I didn't let it be intimidating.
Sure.
Right. But that was about like 5 months into my broadcasting career. So I interviewed her. I said, what is the best advice you can give somebody who is looking to get started and wants to become a more developed professional? And she says, listen, if you have guests, listen to your guests, focus on what they're saying, prompt them with probing questions afterwards, based on the conversation, and then let the conversation take a natural path, right? She also said, if you're unsure about your content and the value it's going to have, go back and re-listen to it. And also listen to your natural pauses. If you're using filler words, right? You know about filler words? A lot of people, they speak with that cadence, right? But try to do your best to kind of naturally sift those filler words out of it. So then the conversation becomes more natural. It becomes more pointed, and you can have a great time. I mean, have fun. That at the end of the day, it's about having fun.
I love that.
Right?
That's a great value everyone should have. Just have fun.
Have fun. Just have fun. You're having fun here.
I'm having a grand time.
I'm having a blast.
Thank you so much, Will. No, I appreciate you. No, and I know being a Monday, the whole Monday motivation thing, I know it's hard to do things on Monday. So I was almost kind of hesitant. I'm like, oh man, I know Will's going to follow through, obviously, but I don't know his mood, his attitude, you know, like there's a lot of shit going on in the world right now. Like we don't have to get into all that, but it's like, it's heavy, man. I've had so many texts from so many different people of like, oh, did you hear what's going on in Iran? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, it's out of our control. As much as I want to talk about that and hear about that and be top of mind, I have to be present. All right. I got to do this interview. I have business calls. I'm running a business. What am I going to do with that information? You know, as a journalist myself, I'm like, you know, half of that's propaganda anyway, you know? So it's like, what is true and what's false anyway, right? It's freaking fake news, blowing everything up in proportion. Real quick, I just want to throw this out on my timeline on crypto Twitter. I saw several people that lived in Dubai, and they were saying how the news was saying, oh, all these missiles are hitting Dubai, United Emirates right now, take cover, take shelter. They didn't see one missile in the sky. Not one missile. And the media was literally blowing everything out in proportion.
Video footage of like one little drone that hit one building.
Yeah. And they were talking about like it was the thousands of drone missiles were hitting Dubai. Like they were blowing it all out of proportion. I'm like, fake news, like, come on, guys, lighten up. They're just they want your clicks, they want your views. The media is out to get your money.
Well, that's like after Denver, you know, I traveled down to Mexico. Right. Everybody's like, is it safe? Is it safe? Is it safe? Because of everything going on.
Right. And so that's right.
Where I'm traveling to is a complete opposite side of the country of where all that heavy stuff is going on. And within one day, the federal government had most of those roadblocks and stuff cleared to the degree of 95%, right? But I did my due diligence. I checked with friends. I checked with locals. I checked with a friend who actually works with Interpol and said, is it safe? You know what he told me? He said, if I was working at the U.S. Embassy, Monterey would be the only city I'd be able to walk around in public. Every other city in Mexico, I'd have to shelter in place.
Wow.
I said, well, then it's safe. It's safe. It's safe. I'm going.
Well, yeah, Monterey's safe.
I'm fearless anyways. I'm fearless. But, you know, I'm also former military, so we used to travel in the military. So and that was during a very tense time in the Mediterranean, Middle East anyways. I mean, it's always been a tense time there for millennia, but that was during a very tense time during that period too. So it's always, you keep your head on your swivel, you're aware of your surroundings. If you travel at night, you're traveling in groups, you know, so it's just having this sense of awareness of what's going on around you and keeping yourself safe. And that's like when you travel anywhere in the world, I think you should have that sense of awareness.
Yeah, that's huge. That you always have to have awareness. That actually brings up a great book, one of my favorites, called Awareness by Anthony DeMeo. Highly recommend it if you haven't read it yet. Well, but yeah, it's a very small book. It's short. It was recommended to me on a podcast, actually, Tim Ferriss. I don't know if you listen to Tim Ferriss at all, but he's very kind of aligned with a lot of my vision with self-development, self-productivity, you know, being a better version of yourself than you were yesterday. But he swears by the book. He was like, this will change your life. And so I was like, all right, went on Amazon, went buy it. But yes, it's totally accurate. Awareness is huge. It's key. And I want to go back. I didn't know you were prior military. Thank you for your service. I appreciate that. Would you mind expounding a little bit about your military experience, how you learned a lot of what you apply for today? Because I find that fascinating because I'm a military brat myself. So I've had to kind of go through a lot of the military regiment growing up, you could say.
Sure. So I will say the benefits for me out of the military was being able to have a strong attention to detail, having strong discipline, and then just having strong integrity and high character, right? So that being said, military for me was an opportunity to go to college originally. That was the thought process behind it. So I talked to the recruiter, I signed up. I was a minor at the time. My mom signed off on it. And she's like, yeah, you know, you're only going to go to basic. You're going to go to a little bit of training, and then you're going to come back home and go to college. Yeah, that was the original plan. You know what I like to say? Life is what happens when you make plans. Because then a week and a half from coming home, the young lady, I will say, that I was dating at the time. So I just graduated high school. She was a sophomore. She writes me a Dear John letter. Oh, now you're a worldly man. My parents think you're too mature for me. Da 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 da.
No.
I said, yeah.
She was letting you down slowly, huh?
Yeah. So I said, okay. I went back to my recruiter. I said, you know what? I was really looking forward to going home and see my girlfriend when I got out of here, but now that's not an option for me. I said, what full-time opportunities do you have? And she's like, her eyes lit up. She's like, it was like the best day of her year, right? When I said that. So she's like, okay, let's get you signed up. So then instead of only being active reserve, which is basically a weekend commitment in 2 weeks a year, right? I went full active duty. And I said, okay, let me get into a good job that I'm going to like, that I'm going to have fun doing. It doesn't have to be mechanical. It doesn't have to be technical, but it's going to be a good job filled for me in the military. So did that. Then I got my permanent duty orders, and I went to Mayport, Florida. Was my only duty station. I only had one duty station my entire career. I was in for 5 years. And that was the USS Saratoga CV-60, which is one of the last of the conventional carriers to be decommissioned back in 95. I think they decommissioned it. So anyways, so this was like 89 to 94 era. Desert Shield, Desert Storm became a thing, right? A year later, right? We deployed over there. Another thing talking about the media. So they're all descending on us. I mean, we got CNN, ABC, NBC, CBS, you know, any news outlet you could think of, Fox, right? Sending us on us as we're deploying. And of course, they give us a script. We have to stick to the script. We have to say, okay, this is why we are, which was not far from the truth, because what a lot of people don't know about military deployments is, especially after a ship comes out of a shipyard maintenance, right? Their deployments are scheduled way far out in advance. We're talking like 18 to 24 month cycles, right? So it had already been pre-scheduled. It was interesting the way it lined up with the way Kuwait got invaded. A week later, we're deploying. All this media is descending on us. We have to deflect, and then boom, away we go, right? And so we didn't actually know. We didn't actually know our purpose until the last aircraft hit the aircraft carrier. We picked them up off the coast of Virginia, and then our captain came on and gave us our orders, and it was, to deploy to go help out over there. So enjoyed a illustrious 5-year career. That was also during the time the military was doing a big drawdown on the forces. So if you didn't make rank within a certain period of time in service, then you were discharged. So, but I had my son out of the military, which is a beautiful thing. I actually extended my time so he could be born while I was still in the military, because that was a big benefit to have children in the military, especially from a cost savings perspective, right?
Definitely.
And yeah, that was it. I was an aircraft director, and so I was part of the aircraft handling crew. So if you ever see in any movies or whatever, the people that are walking along the side of the aircraft by the tires, right? I was part of that crew. So I started off as a blue shirt, which was wing walking, then graduated from there up to a tractor driver, and then from there an aircraft director. So
beautiful. And I don't know if you mentioned the branch. Is this Air Force or Army or?
Oh, I'm sorry. It was U.S. Navy. I mentioned the ship. I mentioned the ship, thinking people would get the inference that it was Navy. Yes, it was the U.S. Navy.
Okay,
US
Navy. Yeah, because depending on the branch, is definitely will determine how different your experience.
Well, it could have been the Navy or the Marines, to be fair.
Oh wow, yeah, I heard Marines is the way to go if you really want to tough it out. Anyway, that's what they say anyway. If you really want to take yourself seriously, you join the Marines. But no, I definitely respect all branches of the military. My dad was previously Army, served for 20 plus years, retired. He's all about houses now and whatever. But even before that, he was in investments and he was self-employed. He was a financial advisor. He got out about 8.5 years. He had me, had most of the kids, helped the military pay for all the kid stuff, right? And then after that, he was like, all right, I'm just gonna get out, start my own business.
Expensive.
It is, but luckily it's a lot easier when you do it through the military, right? They pay for a lot of that stuff, so that
90% of the cost reduction.
Yes,
90% cost reduction. Yes,
definitely took advantage of that. He was a smart man, still is, and he got into financial planning, did that for about 13.5 years, and then the recession hit in 08, 09, decided to get back into the military. Right, and then blockchain was born. He ended up not getting into blockchain, unfortunately. I wasn't even into blockchain that much, but I know. Just imagine if I would have started investing in Bitcoin in 2008, 2009. Isn't that when Bitcoin started? The inception.
2009, yeah.
2009, yeah. Bitcoin.
2009 is when Bitcoin Network became publicly accessible.
Publicly, so you could actually. Where could you buy Bitcoin though in 2009? Did you?
I don't know. I don't even know. All I remember about that era is I was working for a company.
Yeah.
And I saw online they were talking about it, and I saw the Time magazine article. The Time magazine article had this character on the face with like that the mask they use in like drama plays or whatever, that's like the unknown character mask, right? I just see like this picture of this character on there with this mask, and it's talking about Bitcoin, and it says, "Who is Satoshi Nakamoto?" or something like that. Some of that fact. I don't know. I'm not saying that's a direct quote from the Time magazine article, but basically that's what it was. They were trying to figure out what Bitcoin was all about.
Right. And do we know who Satoshi is? Like I still
anonymous.
Still anonymous.
Identity's never been revealed.
Really?
People are debating to this day whether that person is actually still alive or not.
Right.
There's a lot of speculation that they passed away, but they got all this wallet holding all this Bitcoin from the original epoch of Bitcoin that's sitting out there that's never moved. Right? I don't know.
I don't know either. We'll see.
I mean, a lot of people step forward and say, "I am Satoshi Nakamoto. I am Satoshi Nakamoto."
Right, right. There was a documentary. Wasn't there a documentary about Satoshi
Yeah,
a year ago? People were talking
but
about it on
yeah,
crypto
but
Twitter. I
I
remember
think that was
people.
proven false. One of the best ones that I saw was this meme that
Hmm.
said Satoshi was the first two letters from Samsung. Right?
Oh,
First two letters from
okay.
Toshiba, right?
Okay.
Satoshi, and then Hitachi. So it's like all these Southeast Asian companies, if you took the first two letters of each of their names, it all lined up to Satoshi. Yeah, I think it was Samsung, Toshiba, and
be.
Hitachi.
Okay, I could
Could
see
be.
that. But it could
I
also
could
be a
see tech companies
coincidence.
creating it.
I
Huh?
don't know. I said it could also be a coincidence. You know, a lot of
I
Japanese
think it's more.
names
I think
are
it's
kind of very closely, loosely kind of based on the same. Like, I don't know the language personally. I would love to learn Japanese. I honestly,
Me too.
I know, seriously.
My cousin was fun.
Okay. Yeah. And that brings me up to another great question. I'm planning to be in Japan later this year with my partner, hopefully moving there full time. What would you recommend, let's say, for people that want to escape the US? What countries have you been to? I feel like you've been to quite a few countries. You're already in Mexico. What other countries outside of the US do you think that you would, I don't know, that you would like to go to, or that you have been already, and kind of what advice would you give maybe the next wave of digital nomads wanting to do this kind of lifestyle? Because, a lot of people in crypto want that lifestyle. So kind of break that down.
Exactly. So I will say traveling abroad nowadays is a lot different than what it was, say, 35 years ago, right? When I was traveling abroad in the military, right? It's a lot different landscape. So recently, I've only been to Mexico. This is my second time in Mexico. The first time I was in Mexico in 2024 to speak at a conference in Tulum called Tulum Crypto Fest, which is a really cool conference setting because
I want to go.
Imagine conference at the beach.
Oh my gosh, I want to go so bad.
Yeah,
you give me FOMO.
Yeah, I don't know when they're going to do it again, but
let me know. I want to speak there.
Yeah. If you can find an industry event at the beach, I mean that's your best bet in a tropical area.
Sign me up.
So what advice can I give? Well, one, make sure you manage your finances, right? Because depending on where you go, depending on the city you are, it could be relatively similar to the environment you're coming from, right? Also, I'll also say as a word of encouragement is once you get outside of your domiciled area, so say you live in the US or say like in Europe, those places and those airports, because of the taxes that they generate, revenue on airline tickets, right? It can be pretty costly, but find deals, look for deals online. Once you get outside of the country, it's fairly easy and fairly budget friendly to be able to travel to most places you want to go. So that's a bit of advice to starting the digital nomad life, but make sure you're well funded. If you're not well funded, make sure you're setting yourself up for like remote opportunities that you can do while you're traveling, right? There's a lot of them out there, especially for content creators, especially in the creator economy. If you're monetizing yourself outside of the social media construct, right? That's another great way to supplement that and make sure that you're well funded. Because the last thing you want to do is you travel abroad or you're living the digital nomad life, and then you run out of money, right? And then you're like, help!
What do I do? Help me!
But also,
I'm stuck.
I would say lean into your network. Because your network, especially if you have digital nomads in your network, they're probably going to be your best resource for advice. They're going to give you travel tips. They're going to give you just all kinds of different things that you can tap into. And then depending on your network and the complexity of the humans in your network, sometimes they'll host you, right? And they'll be like, hey, just come here. I'll host you. I'll take care of you. I'll make sure your needs are met, your basic needs are met, and we're going to have a good time, right? So just that. Countries I want to go to, I haven't seen. I mean, there's a big expansive world that I haven't seen. I've only been to Southern Europe, a little bit of the Middle East, a little bit of Northern Africa, and now Latin America. So there's a whole wide world out there to explore. With South America because I love the culture, right? Like the first time I was ever in Mexico, which is way back when I was still in the Navy, I just fell in love with the culture, right? And then I started doing research on the heritage of the culture and just absolutely just was enamored by it, right? But also Africa. I definitely want to make a trip to the African continent at some point. And because of the network connectivity we have right now with KF Media and the programs that we have that connectivity to where I could go to Africa. I know I'd be safe, right? I know people would take care of me, and I know that my best interests as far as basic needs would be put forward. So
that's amazing. And it's great to have that, safety and security when you're traveling and knowing, because when you don't know, oh my gosh, you have fear, you have anxiety. What am I going to do? You have no plan, right? And you always need to have a plan, especially when you're traveling. Seriously. And I absolutely love that you have connections in Africa. I've never been to Africa before. I'll have to hit you up next time I go. I've been forming a lot
but
of
I'm also
online.
What I want to say, that's synergistic that you're going to be in Japan later this year, because I'm also looking at being in Japan.
Oh, no way. For a conference or?
Yeah.
Okay. Which one?
East Tokyo.
Yes. In September, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I'm looking at as well. I'm thinking about, I'm going to do the visa tourist one for 3 months or up to 3 months, get that visa and just we're thinking August, September, October, or maybe September, October, November. We're not sure yet.
Right.
So me and my partner are still trying to assess, but Japan's lovely. I've been to Japan and this will be my second time going technically. So I want to hit that conference.
I've never been, but I did connect to somebody at East Denver at a side event who is actually having a 2-week residency program immediately following East Tokyo. So,
like an artist residency, or what kind of residency?
I think it's more just like a developer residency.
Okay, so you have to know code and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, which I don't.
I don't either. That's what I'm saying. It's like, what kind of residency? Because I love artist residencies. I've been looking into them.
Content creation residencies.
Yes, I'm sure that's a
thing.
By
the way, do we? Yeah, well, it is a thing, right? Because we're part of an upcoming cohort.
Yes,
right?
We are. Yeah, absolutely love that.
Media.
Yes, On-Chain Media, the creators program, which I'm still excited to hear from Rachel. I know she's trying to catch up right now. Everyone's trying to catch up after Denver, but I'm excited to see how it unfolds and to see how everything kind of plays out, because I've been following Rachel for a while. Actually, that's a great segue into On-Chain Media. We can talk about them a little bit, because I feel like they have a very, very high interest in what creators are doing on the blockchain, specifically on Base, right? They're very focused on the Base chain, interviewing. I know Rachel runs a podcast, and she also does the spaces, and I don't think she does too much TikTok live, but mostly I've seen her on X, and then also doing her podcast, and she's been highlighted through NBC, MSNBC. Like she's won all these awards and everything. And I was like, whoa, I need to interview her. And she was actually one of my guests that I was supposed to interview at the podcast lounge, Will, but she canceled on me last minute because she said she had podcast issues with herself, with her own podcast that she was trying to record next to the unicorn.eth booth. I don't know if you saw that. She was trying to do her own thing with Bridget. So I guess, I don't know, she had some technical hiccups. Anyway, she had to cancel on me last minute. And I was so bummed out. I was like, I really wanted to interview you, Rachel.
Don't feel bad. So you see this banner behind me, right?
I do.
Right?
Yes.
I had her booked for a session twice on KFM Talks, and it still has not happened yet.
Oh, okay.
She's just busy.
I don't know, man, because I feel like it's like priorities too. Maybe she doesn't like to be interviewed.
Well, this has given her a platform to speak about what she's passionate about for 10 minutes.
Right? Oh my God. I don't know. I
just need 10 minutes of your time, Rachel. Can you carve out 10 minutes for me?
She's a hustler.
But talking about her career as a media personality, and as a broadcaster and a podcaster, I mean, I first met her back in 2023. Right?
Really? Doing what? On Spaces or what? Where did you meet?
No, she was at East Denver.
Oh, at the conference. Okay, cool.
And that's back when she was working for Opolis. So she didn't have any aspirations. And I tried to pull her away and say, hey, let's shoot a quick video, whatever. And then she's like, no, I'm too busy. I got to take care of all these people. She's like, how about this? I'll catch up with you later. So I saw her in passing and I said, hey, Rachel, how about that video? She's like, yeah, man, let's do it. Yeah.
So did you do it?
Yeah, we did it.
How did it go?
It's in the archives of X. It went great.
Oh my gosh. You have to tag me. I want to see it.
Like 10-second video. I'll have to
find it. Find it for me. I want to see it.
I don't know if it's still on platform. I might have it in my archives because
I
download
I want to see
data
it
quite frequently. So
because I've never seen her actually being interviewed for anything. She's always the person interviewing others. So this is why I'm so interested in kind of
how... Yeah, here I'm spilling all the tea without her permission. She's gonna get mad at me now.
That's okay. Don't worry about it.
She'll be like, Will, you're fired as a friend.
Nah, she'll be like, oh, it's Crypto Fam Radio. All right, it's cool. It's cool. He's a cool guy. I bet.
No,
right.
I'm just joking.
But no, saying, with work colleagues, I think I told you before, the two most highly influential people that I have met in spaces is Rachel being one, and then Crypto Empress being the other one. These two ladies have highly influenced me in trying to be better in the form of educating people, inspiring them, and also entertaining them, right? That's how Crypto Fam Radio was formed. And I've just learned so many, they've both been mentors in my life. So it's like to see you or to hear you say that about Rachel, that just warms my heart that you were able to kind of just nab her for 10 seconds. But regardless, I want to see that because like I said, I do not see too many interviews of Rachel. Albert, even Crypto Empress. And I'm like, Crypto Empress, why don't you get interviewed more? And she's like, yeah. And then she throws something at me that's kind of like, whatever, like I'm not that interesting, blah blah. I'm like, girl, you're way interesting. People want to hear your story. And she actually opened up to me in private about some issues that she had to work through in her life. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is huge, Crypto Empress. Just imagine if people heard this side of you, this story. And she's like, I know, but it's just like I don't want to talk about that. And I'm like, okay, you can talk about whatever you want to talk about. You're like, and I was actually full disclosure, I was supposed to interview her for the podcast as well at the podcast line at Denver, but she had to cancel as well last minute because she was running late on a business meeting. So I'm just saying, as much as I love both of these ladies and they've been they both canceled on me. All right. And this is facts. All right. This is an opinion. I still love them both to death. They're still mentors in my life, but I'm like, come on, but I'm just so glad I got Jenna X to show up, and I actually met her at the XRP event. And she's like, oh my gosh, like when we connected at this XRP event, at this F1 arcade or whatever, I don't know if you went to that side event or not, the XRP event. No, oh man, it was huge. I love XRP events. They are amazing. Well, if you get a chance next time for the next conference, go to an XRP side event because they treat you good. Well, they treat you good. They have the best swag. They had a freaking ice sculpture of the X sign, right? They had like this AI robotic arm. They took a photo of you, and then this AI basically created an image of you right there on a piece of paper. Well, and then you were handed that image. They have like another station where you basically etched your name on these little scarves that they were giving out. That was XRP. Oh, Kingfisher. Oh, okay. You just left me, bro. Wow. Didn't even call, dude. All right. Should I keep talking? Should I be patient? I'll just wait because I don't know if you're. This is pre-taped. Well, I'm not going to cut this out. It must have been a very important call. I'm going to grab some water real quick. 1 second. Yeah, we're totally going to cut this out. Yep. Must have been an important call. Oh, are you back?
No.
Not yet.
Yeah, I'm back. Am I back?
I don't see you.
Video. Okay, there we go.
It must have been an important call.
No, it was an important biological break. How about that?
I got you. No worries. You don't have to go into detail. TMI. But basically,
okay, anyway.
Basically, oh man, I forgot my train of thought now. You lost my train of thought. What were we talking about?
I'm so sorry. You're talking about Rachel. You're talking about Jenna. You're talking about
Jenna X. Yeah. So anyway, the
interviews were XRP event.
XRP event. That's right. They had the best food, the best swag, and honestly, the best people in a lot of ways. Like they're a close knit community. They've been around for a long time. XRP before Ethereum started.
I know.
Yeah, before Ethereum. Before Ethereum started, it was Ripple. XRP. Yeah, it was Ripple. Yeah, it was 2 years before Ethereum launched. So it was like, you know, they've got great
Bitcoin,
events.
that it was XRP. I think Litecoin was mixed in there somewhere too.
Oh,
before
yeah.
Ethereum also.
That's right.
There's like
Litecoin came around the
Bitcoin, there
same
was like
online.
Litecoin, there was XRP, then I think there was Ethereum.
Right. So
Yeah.
actually, this is a great segue too. Why don't you walk me through your blockchain experiences? What chains did you start getting involved in first?
Yeah,
What
sure.
did you get in later? Tell me about your blockchain experience. Yeah.
Yeah. So first and foremost, like I said earlier, when I first came in, blockchain research, or not necessarily blockchain researcher, I would say crypto market researcher, right? So we had some preformed information that came out of a newsletter subscription that my mentor, because he's a big finance guy, he found value in these newsletter subscriptions, the information it contained. So he got one related to cryptocurrencies, started doing the research, Chainlink, Cardano. I don't know if you attended the BankerBot 0x protocol event, but 0x protocol used to have a coin back in the day called ZRX, which is now their governance token because it has no monetary value, because somebody stripped out all the liquidity from it. Who knows what happened there? So it was ones like that. I was really looking at ones that added, and we were looking at ones that added real world value at the time. And now we're talking about RWAs and RWIs, right? So real world assets making real world impact, right? So we're still talking about that to this day, and it's still relevant. So early on, it was kind of like betting out the ones that were small micro caps that had a chance to pop and run in the next bull cycle, right? Because we were just coming off the Black Swan event, the financial drawdown because of the pandemic that occurred, C-19, as I call it. But from there, everything was just starting to percolate back up and go in an upward trajectory, right? The first network that I actually connected with, that I actually did activity on, was Ethereum network. Did a little bit of activity on Polygon, not a whole lot. But now, just being chain agnostic, fast forward to today, we have at KF Media, we have our education passports on like 10 different chains. Most of them are based on the EVM modeling and the EVM ecosystem, so the Ethereum virtual machine, right? But, being chain agnostic, and the way we analyze chains and the work that we do on a chain and what we release on a chain is, what purpose does this serve us to be on this chain, right? That's ourselves. If we say, if we're going to deploy on this chain, what purpose does it serve us to be on this chain? What is the benefits of being on this chain and putting product on this chain, or deploying code? We don't have a dev shop yet, but we have aspirations to have one. So if we push code, what's going to be the value add to us first of being on this chain? What does the network connectivity look like? And then what's the value add to the chain of what we can produce, right? So that's our initial analysis that we look at. A lot of it with our last mid-cycle, with the education passports, came through like, oh yeah, we want to be on this chain because it does this, right? Because maybe it does a certain type of privacy, right? So we want people to kind of tap into that narrative, because at the end of the day, we're putting forth, education, right? So we want people to learn about those different aspects. It could have been, hey, a community member or a colleague recommended it because they're on that chain. So we're like, okay, we're going to cater to you and put maybe a smaller amount of product on your chain that you can socialize in your community to get people to get excited about what we're doing, right? So we've kind of drifted away from that, and that's why we're so prevalent. I'm chain agnostic anyways.
Right.
I believe in the network aspect of it, the value of the network over the value of the financial implications, right? And I believe in the long-term value. So right now, we've kind of trimmed it down to two primary chains that we're producing activity on. Base, like you said, because of the support for content creators. One, we have this program, like I said, behind me, another shameless plug for KFM Talks.
Yes. What does it say? Streamlines course creation, right? Is that what it says? Streamlines
course creation, yeah.
And why don't you get more into that? Yeah, get in more into that.
We'll do that. So right now, primarily, Yeah, primarily we're on base and we're
Okay.
on Cello. The reason why
Cello.
we're on Cello, because there's a lot of, so Cello was a layer 1 that
Okay.
became a layer 2 and part of the superchain ecosystem. Okay.
Mm.
So a lot of the public goods funding, though, comes through being on Cello. So there's great value on being on Cello. And because we're in the public goods ecosystem, the company itself is not a public good, but we have programs that are considered public goods, right?
Mm.
So being in the regenerative community, being in the regenerative, mindset, and basically operating a community that delivers on public goods. There's a lot of funding opportunities out there for us, and we're just coming off a grants program right now that was done for Gitcoin Grants 24 for the public goods tooling development pilot pool, right? So we're getting some funding coming from that that's going to help us to really ramp up that program. But you said, hey, why don't I talk about KFM Talks? So let me do a real quick.
Yeah, do that real quick, and I've got a great follow-up question about Cello, but yeah, go for it.
Okay, no worries. So KFM Talks, what is it? What does it do for people that tap into it? This is our primary program that we're promoting through the end of this month, right? We have a flyer out there. We're calling it Winter Edition, right, of KFM Talks. This is our third wave since we launched the program back last summer. What it is, it's bringing TEDx style talks, not officially endorsed by the TEDx organization, but TEDx style talks in the same spirit and intent as TEDx talks into the Web3 ecosystem, using 100% Web3 tools through and through. So there's not a point in the process of the curation of the talent, of the curation of the content, of the recording of the content, of the rewards that we're distributing back to the content creators. There's not a point in this program that is not that you'll find a tool that's not Web3, right? So that's the provability aspect of it, is that we have enough tools to launch and manage and create these types of programs using nothing but Web3 tooling. We don't need to be reliant on Web2 tooling if we don't want to, right? So that's the thing. In our addition, we have an alumni group of 22. Actually, Rachel's one of those alums, as we spoke about earlier. So we have an alumni group of 22. We've got 5 of them that have already recorded, and we've published their content. So all it is for them, they come into the studio, we record a session, we take it from there, right? We give them the raw, we give them the final. Then they can repurpose it, whatever they want to do. Then we push it out onto our marketplace on highlight.xyz, and we protect the content, right? So we put a Creative Commons license on it, the most stringent out there. So this way, if it needs to be relicensed, we can relicense it on a lower license to protect the content creator's content so that it cannot be manipulated for usage that it's not intended to. But these talks are designed to be inspiring, maybe motivational, impactful talks where content creators, like we're talking about speaking, my best advice for speaking, speak from your passion, speak from your heart. That's exactly what they're doing. So they're coming into a comfortable, safe setting. They're speaking from their heart. They're speaking what they're passionate about. We take care of everything after the recording. We do a 3 to 5 day run up until the launch of their talk. We take as a short form media. We take like the best, 60 seconds, best 90 seconds, best 2 minutes, whatever. We use that in our promotion. But we also take it one step further. We also put it out on Base App, right? So we put out that little teaser video on Base App, and then we take, when that is created on Base App, 90% of those coins that are created on that original post, we give that back to the content creator. Right? And then as they're generating revenue, as we're getting sell-through on their talks, they're going to get 80% or better of the royalties coming off of that.
Wow, that's huge. That's beautiful. I love it. So is it a program, or do creators have to apply for it? How do you get involved? Okay.
Oh, yeah, it's a program. We've got a flyer out there right now on our X account, on KF Media's X account. And it says KFM Talks Winter Edition. 3 pieces of information, right? We all know how like big corporates, data mining, we're going to take all your data, we're going to manipulate it for our benefit, right? Only 3 pieces of information. And not all of it has to be like accurate. Some of it could be anon. So name, which can be anon. What cannot be anon is your 0x wallet address. And then an email. An email so we can keep in touch with you. That's it. Not very extractive at all, not very invasive at all. And then on the event page where it says location, that link will be a direct link into the Telegram group that's already been established for this program. So you can meet your other cohorts that are part of this program.
Very cool. I may just have to apply. Yeah. So when you're doing these talks, how long are the talks usually? And do you have them like with a prompt?
Between 7 to 15 minutes.
Okay.
No, I just let them free flow. They're the content creator, right? They've got full freedom to talk about whatever they want. Now, the one thing that we don't want to do, so I do want to set the tone for this.
Sure.
We don't want it to be a promotional video.
See, that's what I was getting at. Yeah, I was like, how?
Yeah. So that's the one caveat to it. We want it to be to where people are going to be inspired by what you have to say. That's really the spirit and intent behind the program.
Got you. So it's more about the person, maybe their trials and tribulations that they've gone in through in their own life that they talk about to get them to where they're at now.
Well, you met Jimmy.
Yes.
You met Jimmy.
Yes.
Okay, so we have a talk out there that Jimmy did.
Okay.
And his passion that he wanted to talk about on his recorded talk was how to unlock unstoppable motivation and maximize your personal impact.
Yeah. That's cool.
So stuff like that. We had another one, like Drew Simon came on from Crypto Altruism podcast. I don't know if you've ever heard his podcast or not.
I haven't.
But he came on and he was talking about how decentralization did not start with blockchains, right?
That's interesting. Yeah. That is interesting. I'd like to know.
Exactly.
That's a nice. Yeah, that's a nice question. I'm like, okay, I want to know the answer. I want to hear his talk now. So now that's great. I love that. So for those who want more information about how to get involved with what Will is doing, I absolutely love that initiative that you started. And how long has this been going on?
It's been going on since last June is when we launched the program.
Last June. And how long, is this program indefinitely, or do you have a cutoff?
I mean, we cut it off for the curation of the talent phase.
Okay.
But then we try to get them booked in the studio in a timely fashion. But we all know we're busy. We all have busy schedules out here, right?
Yeah.
In the ecosystem. So we all are balancing different aspects of our daily lives in the ecosystem. So we're pretty understanding with that. This cohort will cut off on the 14th of March.
Gotcha.
So in about 12 days, that form will close. We won't take any more open interest for the program, but then we'll work in the background to get everybody scheduled and get them recorded. This is a cyclical, seasonal event that we're doing. Okay. Now, we're not always going to be forward focused on promoting this as our primary promotional piece on our marketing strategy. But it's always going to be there. It's quarterly. We run it quarterly. We take 1 month. Typically, now this cohort, we got started a little bit late. We usually take 1 month for the open interest, 1 month to book the recordings, and then 1 month to promote and publish the recordings.
Got you. So, and it's all to highlight these creators doing amazing work in just blockchain or any.
Well, we publish them through Highlight. We publish
through Highlight. Okay, gotcha.
Highlight.xyz. Are you familiar?
I'm not. Would you mind sharing a little more about Highlight?
Yeah, so the value add. So I actually learned about this in the Creator Fight cohort that I was in that Rachel Wilkins hosted that was funded by Base. Shout out to you, Rachel Wilkins. I love you, girl. Anyways, Tony Hawk came in. And he introduced us to Highlight.xyz.
Cool.
Highlight.xyz is a no-code smart contract deployer that you can deploy on several different chains. We choose Base for the deployment of this. You do have to keep your video size under 50 megs, but if it is over, you can get, there's video compressors out there that don't degrade the content, right? Or the quality of the content.
Right.
So you have to make sure that's compressed down to 50 megs. But the value add is instead of it writing to IPFS, right? It writes to Arweave, which Arweave arguably is a more secure storage solution on the blockchain, especially for content creators.
I didn't know that. Arweave. I have heard the word, but I was like, I didn't know specifically what its use case was. Yeah, I will.
Well, most cases, IPFS had a problem before where like the actual content itself was stored on an AWS server.
Oh, yeah. Everything kind of starts on AWS, I feel. But I want to go back to Celo. I know that we were talking to Celo, sorry. So I'm not familiar with the blockchain. That one specifically, would you mind talking more about Celo and why you're so integrated on that blockchain specifically, why you're so bullish on it?
Yeah, no problem. So Celo, I don't know like the early beginnings of Celo. I don't know the origin story per se, right? But because we participate in a lot of conversations that are centered around public goods. What are public goods? Public goods are usually goods and services that traditionally have been provided by governments, right? That are non-rivalrous. There's an unlimited supply of them, and they're inclusive, right? But as we've seen in our current society, the way governments have not been in support of their constituents as they should have been, now we have independent public goods organizations developing, right? So basically they create something that's for the good, general good of the public, that's non-rivalrous, that's inclusive, and that has an unlimited supply. So when we think about clean water, right? That's an example of a public good, having clean water. So when you have these people working on these clean water projects, right? Water purification, things like that, desalination.
It's a public good.
That is basically a public good. Education is a public good, right? Education is a public good.
It is.
So with that being said, as we're traveling through this, we started learning more and more about Celo. Now, in the history of blockchains, there was this blockchain that was spun up called PGN, or Public Goods Network. And that ended up being unattainable and non-sustainable after several months of trying to operate it, right? So then they took it down. You were able to get all your assets, if you had assets on there, off that blockchain. And then Celo came to the forefront as being like the most supported blockchain for public goods projects and organizations. So that's the rationale behind why we're using Celo, because we're expanding that footprint out on Celo, because we're so heavily involved in those conversations, because ultimately it's going to lead to better network connectivity, higher levels of funding, more recognition for the work that we're doing from a
It's Monday. It's Monday.
Meritocratus. How about that? Meritocratus perspective. Right.
Okay. Don't know if that's a word.
And those are a lot of the communities. It is a word. Okay. Those are a lot of the communities that we participate in on a weekly basis. Are ones that are valuing the merits of our participation.
Oh, okay.
That's what meritocratus is. Yeah.
Okay. I think it's pronounced meritocracy. I think.
Okay, meritocracy.
Because that sounds better. That sounds more familiar. Which is okay. That makes sense. Okay, awesome. I love that.
But they're meritocratus in nature.
Meritocratus.
So that's like a adverb or adjective to describe them, right?
That's right. So they basically help you with funding. The chain Celo helps you with funding, helps you getting the word out with social good.
They do have some funding programs. Yeah, they do have some funding programs. They do have some programs that are specific to the blockchain.
Okay. As long as it has to do with public goods, basically. Any type of public good they're interested in when it comes to education, resources, anything to do with, helping the greater ecosystem, let's say Treegens, right? I'm sure Treegens is part of Celo as well, and what he's doing of planting 1 billion trees or whatever in the Amazon or whatever. So it's like that. Yeah,
he could look at funding from Celo
if he wanted to. Oh, I thought he was already there.
No, he's on base. Treegens is on base.
Oh, okay. They have
Treegens is on base, and they're doubling down on Farcaster for the social buy aspect.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, a lot of people have been telling me about Farcaster, especially at eDenver. I need to look more into it. It's built on base, right? Farcaster? Is that correct?
It is.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's right.
It's got a blockchain behind it.
That's another blockchain or more
No,
than
I
that?
mean Farcaster has its own blockchain behind. If you open up the hood, it's got a blockchain behind it.
I didn't know
This
that.
is why you're able to trade posts through the base app that's connected back to Farcaster, right? That's why you're able to do all that, because there's a blockchain behind it.
So it's just not base, it's on its own separate blockchain, you're saying?
Yes, correct.
Okay,
yes.
that makes sense. What blockchain is it? Just called Farcaster blockchain?
I'll have to check with one of my colleagues and get you that information later.
Interesting.
They mentioned it. It didn't stick in my brain.
Right. It's okay.
I just know they have their own blockchain behind.
We can't remember everything we hear. I wish we could. I wish I had that automatic, what is it called?
Only partially photographic. That's it.
There we go. Partially photographic memory. See, this is why I became a professional photographer in another life, to try to remember these moments, because I used to always forget too, it's part of the lore of the history. But I absolutely love that. I absolutely love that your mission is about public goods. And I want to go back to one of the first topics that you talked about, which we haven't really spent a lot of time. So I guess we're kind of making our way full circle here. Education, right? I don't feel like we talk about education enough, or maybe we do in crypto. I'd love to hear your perspective on just education in the US, since, you're from the US, what your experiences have been when you're in the vibe of trying to educate people more, just not into crypto, but also maybe in self-development and motivation. Because I feel like you kind of target a lot of different categories, a lot of niches within your public speaking
Yeah, we do, but we kind of distill it down to two primary curriculum tracks, right? So emerging technologies, right? So that's all encompassing of any emerging technology out there: blockchain, AI, IoT, which is Internet of Things, quantum computing, robotics, drone piloting, whatever, right? So that's all one core curriculum. The other core curriculum is, because my personal passion is to improve the quality of life of people who maybe have not had an equitable opportunity to do so themselves. So then we add in the layer of life skills, right? So when we're talking about financial literacy, we're talking about emotional intelligence, we're talking about cooking skills. We're talking about art. If they want to tap in on art, we're talking about music. I mean, public speaking, that could be a course, right? We could do a whole course on public speaking.
Really good.
Some tips on that. We could bring you in.
I love it. Sign me up. Like,
write a course on podcasting, right?
I could do a whole webinar, right?
Yeah, you could do a whole webinar. You could do an 8-part masterclass. What is a podcast and why should I care? Right?
And why should everyone have their own?
Yeah, if they want to. If they're ambitious.
I think they should. I think they should, regardless. I think everyone should have their own podcast. If you're a creator, you should have your own podcast. If you don't have enough time to edit it and post it and publish, sign up, get CryptoFam Media LLC to do it for you. I'm just saying. Distribution.
Sure, there's some costs associated with that too, though. Most content creators, the systemic challenge right now is content creators becoming monetized.
Yes.
Right? So a lot of them don't have that startup budget. They don't have that startup budget.
Where do I start?
To do that, right? Yeah. To hire somebody that can consult with them and advise with them. So, but that's the beauty about Web3, is if you build enough solid relationships, most people will just offer up their time and say, hey, I want to help you out.
Yeah, I think that's the big reason we're doing this podcast. We're helping a lot of people out, just talking to each other, just giving so much advice. Like, I've learned so much from you already, Will, and I'm sure, vice versa. And we're just kind of building on each other, right? With these questions about what I'm learning from you, what you're learning from me, these takeaways, doing the follow-ups. And back to education. If you weren't, and this is a great question I love asking for people, if you couldn't do crypto, if you couldn't do blockchain, if it didn't exist, what would you be doing today?
Wow. I'd probably still be in corporate America.
Oh, man.
Working a 9 to 5 as a W-2 employee.
Oh, my God. That sounds depressing, bro.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Doesn't it?
No, I wasn't expecting that answer, honestly. I was hoping for, like, maybe teacher. I don't know, like teaching something that you're passionate about subject. Because I feel like you're a teacher. You're an educator.
Well, naturally, yes. Yeah. I would say. But being an independent educator is not the same thing as being a formal educator. Because especially by society standards, you still have to have that credentialing. right, to support it, right? Whereas here in Web3, in the blockchain ecosystem, I have the freedom to do whatever I want, as long as it remains above board, right? So as long as I keep my reputation above board, we're good to go there. But what I will say too about the education system, it's systemically being broken. We want to do better. We want to create mechanisms and pathways for people, especially in developing countries and the global south, where they can get quality education, they can learn about something new, they can be rewarded as a result of it, and they don't have to make a major financial decision about it. I mean, that's the model, right?
How many people are actually adhering to that model though?
You mean like are implementing programs like we are? Operating like we are? Not many.
See, we need more
But people. Hey, we're breaking ground. We're breaking ground. We're becoming the example. We use the model. When a traditional educational institution says, what are you guys doing different than we are? Then we'll explain it to them and we'll say, okay, this is our model. Now you can come alongside of us and support us, or you can try and go do it on your own. We're further along in the process than you are. We have, a lot of knowledge that we can share, a lot of wisdom and experience we've gained along the way that we can share with you. So it would behoove you to come alongside of us and support us, and then we can co-work and co-create and co-collaborate together.
Right? Yeah, let's go far. I don't want to go fast. I want to go far, and you can only do that with co-collaborators, a team, right? And I absolutely love that.
That's why when we set out, we set out to build this on a 20-year roadmap. KF Media itself, the company, 20-year roadmap.
Wow. What year are you on?
Not even 3 years in.
Okay, I was going to ask you.
Yeah. So we're coming up on year 3.
Oh, coming up. Okay, on year 3, 20 years. Man, that makes me bullish right there that you have 20 years just mapped out and just following your roadmap each year, checking it off, getting on, because it's never the destination. It's the journey, right? The process of getting there. And once you get to those 20 years, I'm going to be like, oh, let's go for another 20. Why not? I'm having this much fun. I'm having this much fun,
To me, the proposition of building in the blockchain ecosystem, especially around your passions, is a legacy building event, right? I have 7 grandchildren.
Wow. Congrats.
I want their future. Thank you. And I don't even look like it. A lot of people are like, you got 7 grandchildren, you don't even look like that. I'm like, well, it's okay. But anyways, that's it. I want their legacy. I want their future to be secured, right? Whatever that looks like for them,
right?
I want their future to be secured. I don't want it to be up in the air without question. I'm like, what is going to be the pathway for them when they get old enough to start learning about these concepts outside of the traditional educational construct?
Absolutely love that. Giving them the freedom to do what they want, like the real freedom. That's huge. Without financial responsibility, you're already set up. Just do what you guys love. Solve those problems of tomorrow. Because there's always it, right? And that's the number one.
Solve the challenges of tomorrow today.
There you go. I feel like I've heard that somewhere.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like a slogan, some political slogan. I don't want to get into that. That's amazing. Lastly, we're kind of winding down here. I just have a few more questions, Will, and I've had an incredible time with you. Awesome. I don't want to. Thanks, Will. I appreciate you. But I want to finally kind of close with social impact, because you said that early on of like that's currently your mission, your vision with your company and why you built it, because of the social impact. Why don't you talk to me more about social impact, specifically how you're impacting the next generation of builders in crypto?
Sure. Well, I don't know necessarily we're impacting the next generation of builders. We're definitely going to be impacting the next generation of learners about this technology.
I like that. Yeah.
Right. So as people get curious about the technology and they want to learn more about the technology, I mean, I hear devs all the time, in order to get to adoption, we need to obfuscate, which means make not apparent the technology behind it. We just need to make it familiar for people to buy into the narrative. And then if they're curious about the tech, they do, right? But the technology and the participation in the technology has a lot of value. So by empowering the next generation or future learners of the technology, we offer the resources, the mechanisms, and the support structure for them to accomplish that. As our curriculum develops and becomes more robust financially, and we are foundationally, not financially, more robust foundationally, and we have a more a wider catalog of offerings, then people will be able to come into our learning center. They'll be able to start thinking about career pathing, right? What do I want to learn about? Well, I don't know much about blockchain, so I want to do a blockchain basics course, right? Mm-hmm. And maybe I want to become a financial advisor in this new wave of finance. So now I'm going to take a decentralized finance course, right? And now, oh wait, let me back up here a minute. I didn't get my, man, I missed a prerequisite. I need to go take a financial literacy course, right? So now they have all these building blocks for success. And now our next iteration of our learning center will be fully on chain, right? That's part of what we're fundraising for right now, is to have a fully on chain learning center. So now that's going to be like they graduate from the basics. Now they've got intermediate and advanced level instruction, right? And now they can start thinking about a career path. Well, the career path becomes very interesting because now, because we've already paved the way for them, because we have such great network connectivity, we can partner up with the mentor who's already carved that path for them, so they don't have to go through all the trials and tribulations. And they can learn from the mentor, and the mentor will be like, do this, A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z, and boom. And then from there, let me know if you need any help, or let me know if you need any advice, or I don't want you falling down, or as they call it, failing forward, although sometimes it's necessary, right? But the mentor can be a guide for them to help them on a good career path, on a good income producing journey. And then, they can always come back to home base.
Yeah, on the base chain.
On the base chain.
I love that. Oh, man. Thank you so much, Will. Where can people find you if they would like to know more about what you do and how to get plugged in?
Yeah, so on X, me personally, my personal account is at Will T SBU down. So that's Sierra Bravo Uniform Delta Alpha Oscar. Okay, that's on X. You can also find me on arena.social under the same handle. I just set up a personal Farcaster account for my own personal interest and publishing some photography out there. So that's on Farcaster Will T of Web3. And then for the company and community, you can find us at KMLLCW3 on X, Kingfisher's Media on Farcaster, also on arena.social.
That's a lot. Well, I'll definitely have my AI taking notes.
Good. I'm going to spell phonetically a little bit more for your AI. Kilo, Mike, Lima, Whiskey, 3. Oh, wait, I forgot the Charlie in there.
I was going to throw you some quick marketing advice, Will, but you probably already know. You got to keep things short and simple and sweet and to the point, right? So you may have to just
my best.
Acronym it more or something. I don't know. Like make it just 5 words so people remember. I don't remember any of that, but AI did, so we're definitely gonna have all that transcripts.
Well, and I'm around a lot of the spaces a lot.
Oh,
of the
okay,
time, so
cool.
It's pretty easy to find me too.
Awesome, I absolutely love that. And then mention your website again, where people can go to the actual website.
That's under construction right now.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You're still working on it.
Yeah,
got to get that back online ASAP.
But here's the beauty of it. Well, we're working with a web developer. Who's crafting his skill set for web development, who's a university student in Nigeria.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. Love that. I love that. Giving back. I love that. Sweet. Yeah. Awesome. That's amazing. Well, thank you so much, Will. I had a blast. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, too. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Awesome, thank you, man. I'm definitely going to reach out to you about those TED Talk style talks that you got going on. Love to be a part of that program. I feel like I have a few inspiring words that I could share with everyone, and everyone's got a story to tell at the end of the day. So I think anyone should try to get on board before it closes the application process before. So, but regardless, I love our talk today. Appreciate you.
Oh, and by the way, if I can,
totally.
One more plug.
Go for it.
So we have a space this Wednesday
Okay.
at 1:30 Eastern called
Okay.
Voices of KF Media.
Okay.
It's going to be a KFM Talks AMA.
Okay, cool.
So basically you can show up to the space, you can come in, you can ask all your questions that you want about the program, how it works, how we're monetizing creator, what are the rewards programs we have set up in the background, how we're going to be fundraising against this program so we can provide the content creators that are part of this cohort with a higher level of monetization through grants or other fundraising activities. So yeah, sorry, Voices of KF Media on X Spaces, Firehouse, and Arena Social, Wednesday at 1:30 Eastern.
1:30 Eastern.
Yeah, we're in the same time zone, so 12:30 Central.
That's right. Perfect. That's a half an hour before my space starts.
Well, there you go. You can show up for the first half hour.
I know, right? There you go. There you go. You know, and honestly, mine's always ones, by the way. 1 p.m., 1:11. I really like ones. I don't know if you
That's why you have 111 podcast.
That's right. You see, you're getting it. Numerology. Yeah, you're connecting the dots. Well, all my spaces are at 1 o'clock. So EST, by the way. So I absolutely love that. Definitely check out what Will is doing with KFM Talks this Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. EST, fam. And yes, Will, thank you again to being an amazing host for 111 Podcasts. And we will talk to you soon, my friend. Thank you.